Hello, everyone, and welcome back to my channel. It's your host, Arlette, and we are here today with Jason and Candi. Welcome, guys. How are we feeling?
Oh,
Doing all right.
great.
Doing all right. Thank you, Arlette.
All right, good to have you guys back. We had you on episode 30 of Pop the Balloon or Find Love, where you guys ended up matching.
hmm
Okay,
All
awesome.
right. So, Candi, is it a
Yes,
yes for you for him?
it is.
We
Yes, we have
got
a lot
a
of things in common.
match! All right, I will take this mic
Yes.
and you guys can go on off. All right. So, the comments were, going crazy, talking about you guys. They were like, man, this was the longest segment of Pop the Balloon or Find Love.
She was grilling me up there, wasn't she?
Candy came with the questions that were going to be, no short answers. She said, I want to hear everything. So, Candy, how did you prepare for this? How did you come up with these questions? Walk us through it.
So honestly, I was just intentional about my time on the show. I
Hmm.
know what it is I'm looking for, what I'm seeking in a man, and so I wanted to definitely use that time wisely, especially with that being my second time on the
Right.
show. So yeah, I had my questions prepared. And yeah, I knew what I was looking for.
Okay. And then, it didn't help that Jason also doesn't have short responses for anything.
Arlette, don't be jumping in with the rest of the comments. Okay, I read them. I know. You can get yes or no today.
Oh my goodness. No, I'm just kidding. And that's you. I'm glad that you came with the good questions though, because we always tell everyone come prepared, have your questions ready, because you do want to hear from these people that could be your possible match, whatever it is. So it's always good to one, speak well and have your long-winded responses
Yeah.
and also have like really good questions prepared. Was there anything that was shocking to you guys, like from the experience or from what you've seen, what you've heard, whatever, since the show has aired? Jason, we can hear from you first.
I wouldn't say shocking. I was nervous. I had a
Okay.
lot of anxiety leading up to the air date because I didn't know how it was going to be received
Yeah.
and what the perception of people watching this would be. I've never had you know that many eyeballs on me at one time, even though I've spoken at conferences and so forth in front of hundreds of people, been in front of federal judges, federal courts of appeal, and out of
Right.
all of that, this was maybe. Uh, one of the most nerve wracking. And now I'm consciously thinking, am I talking too much? So now they're in my head.
But it's part of your job. Like you do have to do a lot of talking, and you're very well spoken, so it's not a bad thing. Honestly, it's not a bad thing. Don't overthink it.
I very much appreciate that. I have a need to feel understood, and so
uh,
I think that's why I do it. And plus, we live in the
okay.
TikTok age where everybody's used to things in 2 minute sound bites, and if you go beyond 2 minutes, then you're talking too much. So I understand it's a generational thing as well.
Right, we're in the TikTok era. Okay.
That's right. That's right.
Now, Candy, you were getting kind of a lot of backlash for one of the comments you made about one of the gentleman's professions. Did you want to get into that?
Um,
I guess elaborate a little bit more as to what you meant when you made your
sure.
statement.
Sure. Yeah. Obviously, who I have um, depicted myself to be on the show is exactly who I am. I'm very
Mhm.
genuine. I am not a judgmental person. Like everybody, we have preferences, and for those who saw the first time that I was on the show, I was very specific and intentional about what it is I desire for my man career wise.
Mm.
And so at any point, not at any point actually, I wasn't judging Don for his profession. I've spoken to him. We're cool. We're good. I guess what I wanted to share, or maybe clear up for the people, is that it wasn't his profession per se, but I am an ambitious woman myself. So I seek someone who um, is ambitious as well as far as their career. So there's not a problem with being a mailman, but just wondering, is there anything else you want to do to step up from that? Do you want to manage the postal office, or do you want to be some type of supervisor or director, that kind of thing? So I was just seeking to understand and connect with ambition in regards to that. But
Mhm.
obviously, being a postal service or mailman, there's nothing wrong with that. Blue collar positions, there's nothing wrong with that as well. So it's all just a preference.
Okay. All right, good. Well, let's go ahead and dive right into the juicy topic at hand that everyone is here just dying and waiting to know. Since you guys ended up matching, have you gone on a date?
Candy, you want to take it?
We've hung out a few times.
Oh,
We've hung out a couple times.
okay. All right, walk me through the first date. When was it? Where'd you go? What'd you do?
I was trying to make the first date right after the episode ended, and
Yeah,
I
he
knew
was.
Candy had a flight back to Charlotte, and I was doing everything in my power to get that flight moved. So let me tell you, because
Candy, why
I
would you
heard.
book your flight right after the show?
Thank you.
I had something to do. It was already planned. It wasn't on me.
Okay. So obviously it didn't happen right after the show. So when was the first date?
So I actually have some cases in North Carolina, and those are actually my next cases that are coming up for trial. And so I actually had already on my schedule to go to Asheville and Hendersonville for some depositions that I was taking the next week. So I told Candy about this, and I said, you know what? I'm going through North Carolina. Why don't we meet up in Charlotte and take you out and do a date? So we did it the week following the show.
Okay.
And in that interim, we were talking every day. We were communication was great. In constant communication throughout the day. So ended up going in Charlotte. We went to a museum and then out to dinner.
Okay. Nice. How was that first date for you, Candy?
I feel it went well. One of the questions that Jason asked me on the show is if I was high maintenance, and hopefully the first date showed that I wasn't. Like he mentioned, we went to a museum, got some food, got a drink, super simple, but we talked for a very long time, and got to know each other a little bit better. So I would say it went well.
Okay. So now after that, how was everything? How long were you in North Carolina? Did you guys hang out again while you were out there? Did you have to fly back? Like, what was the next steps after that?
I was there for a couple days. We only hung out that day, and then I was actually supposed to be back 2 weeks following that. So I think we had tentative plans to see each other again when I was coming back.
Okay.
And then again, we were talking every single day throughout the day until the next time that we could see each other. I ended up I think one of the cases settled, and so I didn't have to go to North Carolina. And because we had sort of established a nice rapport at this time, I said, well, why don't I fly you out here, put you up in a hotel, and we'll hang out for a weekend and have a good time. And that's exactly what we did.
Okay. And where are you again right now? You're in
In
Virginia?
Virginia, yeah.
Virginia. Okay, okay. So, Candy, he flew you out to Virginia?
He did.
Is-
He did.
Okay.
He
How
did.
was that? Tell me about it.
It was interesting.
Uh-oh.
Um,
Interesting good, interesting bad. What does that mean?
I feel like we got to know a little bit more about one another. But
Okay.
ultimately, I do feel like we had a good time.
Mm, all right. So how long were you out there?
For the weekend.
The weekend. Okay. So no, quick little weekend trip.
hmm hmm
Okay. All right, Jason. What'd you guys plan? How did it go out there?
I thought we had an excellent time, and I was hoping I was trying to bring my A game for
Okay.
that weekend. So I'm not gonna. Uh, so I planned. We went to dinners, lunches, museums. Uh, went out to some lounges, and then to a show.
Okay. So you're a planner, like you planned everything pretty much.
I'm generally not a planner. I try to play. I try to play
Oh,
by. I try to. I try to do a little things a little spontaneously, but I knew because I was bringing her out and stuff, and I knew she appreciated planning at least for this. I didn't want. I wanted her to turn off her brain and just have a good time, and I thought we
mm.
had a very good time. Candy is just a pleasure to be with,
Oh,
and I a pleasure to be around. She was great company, and I thought we did get to know each other pretty well during that trip.
good. Okay. So now after that trip, where are you guys now? Today, are we still getting to know each other? Are we still taking trips to see one another? How's that going?
Well, no.
Uh
uh,
oh.
following the
Why?
trip,
The trip sounded like it went well.
I thought it did, but I got in my head a little bit, I think. And
Okay.
I the next day, I probably should have gave it a day or two to think and reflect on it more because I don't know if I was being totally fair to Candy and in her favor. And given that I'm blocked now, I couldn't exactly communicate that to her. But I
You
thought
blocked it. Okay.
my expectation was we were talking every day. There's a palpable tension that sort of builds when you're building a rapport with somebody.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought that was going to manifest itself in something where I could really feel some desire and affection for the things that I was doing. And I thought that I would be able to see that. I thought there would be um, a lot more connectedness. And what I felt during the trip was that I thought she was trying to create some distance between us, and I'm not accustomed to that, especially when you know I, I thought I was acting pretty intentionally, and I thought I was investing in this, and so I thought that she might not be into me, the man. I thought she might be into the value, and I was
Mm.
concerned about that. In the back of my head was the record playing of. The mailman and the security guy, what they did. And is this about my profession or um, is this about me? And I'm kind of guarded against that. And so uh, I got on the phone with her and said, I wanted to bring parity back to the situation, and I said, why don't we start from a place of friendship,
Okay.
and try to build off that because I want you to be with somebody that you don't just like the value, you like the person himself. I want you to be head over heels for whoever you're talking to, and I know Candy's got some DMs now because I said she is this unbelievable combination of pretty, uh, sexy, and cute all at the same time. I don't know how she pulls that off, but she really does. So and she knows it. So but I thought it might be better. Maybe I'm moving ahead too full steam, and maybe I should take a step back,
Okay.
manage my expectations, and start from a place of friendship, and then go forward from there.
Okay. So the trip was great, but you felt like she wasn't all into you as a person?
That essentially, yeah. I
Okay.
didn't feel like I'm very big on needing to feel desired. I didn't really feel that. I mean, I get around Candy and I'm like, man, I want to be as close to you as possible at all times as possible. She has that energy that sort of brings you in, and I
Okay.
got lulled into that. Now you see the face, I got lulled into that, and so and I was hoping that would be reciprocated to some degree. I've certainly in my past I've had things move pretty quickly. If anybody's done online dating knows, you're talking for like a week, and then by the time you meet, it's like, wow, you feel sparks, and
Like
I
you feel
really
like you
wanted
already
to.
know each other.
Exactly, and I
Okay.
wanted to feel sparks, and I know I felt the sparks, but I didn't know that if she was feeling the sparks. So I said, okay, let me cool
Take a
down
step
here a bit.
back.
Why don't we start from a place of friendship and go from there?
Okay. Candy, let's hear from you.
Um, well, first, I think the planning was amazing. The things that he planned for us to do were definitely spot on with the things that I enjoy and my interests. So I definitely appreciate that. But like you said, I do feel things were probably moving at our paces were different.
Okay.
For me, I've been in a long-term relationship. I've been hurt before. I am very conscious and aware um, of things that are important. And for me, if I want to be serious with somebody, I don't move at a pace that's fast. I do believe friendship should come first. Friendship is the foundation. So for me, it was let's build a friendship, let's get to know one another, and then let's see where we can go from there. So I do feel like we probably were different as far as Jason kind of jumping in. I don't feel like I jumped in with him when it
Hmm.
comes to that, but that didn't mean that I maybe wouldn't have gotten there eventually. So I do feel like, us establishing let's be friends first was the right direction to go in.
Okay. But is he, like he stated, he feel like you were more so interested in what he can bring than him himself? Is there truth to that?
Not at all. Not at all. First, I didn't ask to come and be flown out. That was something that was offered to me. I did offer to drive, but ultimately, that was something that was offered to me. So it was never, and it's never been in any of my situations about what somebody can give to me. Again, the question was asked, am I high maintenance, materialistic, however you want to phrase it? And I said no, and I meant that. So in getting to know somebody, there are certain expectations that I don't have. But I do appreciate the things that Jason did as far as dinner and us going out and things like that. That it's most appreciated. But it's not something that I necessarily expected. So I'm here to get to know somebody for who they are, not for what I feel like I can get out of the situation as far as materialistic, financially, money, that type of thing. That's not who I am. So
Okay. So I know you said, when you're getting to know someone, building a friendship is like the main thing first. So before you went out there on this trip, was that something that was discussed between the two of you? Like, hey, this is just simply us being friends. We're not going to try to even do this with a romantic route. Like, was that a discussion or was that something you thought he just knew?
that's a great question. As much as we spoke, I don't know that we established that verbatim.
Okay.
For me, it was understood. That's how I felt. Um, and that's not to say that we couldn't have risen to other levels, but initially, that's how I would be with anybody. So maybe, we maybe should have had a conversation more so about that at the beginning, and maybe Jason wouldn't feel the way that he felt, but yeah, we are where we are.
Okay. So when you guys were having like these conversations, talking to each other, prior to you coming out there, even when you guys went on your first date, all that stuff, was it like on a friendly vibe or were you guys flirting? Like, how was it? To where now you guys are both like, oh, we're on two different paths. We didn't know, like, we weren't seeing eye to eye on where this was going.
Oh, I'm flirting.
Okay.
He is.
Okay, you're flirting, but she
I'm
giving it
flirting.
back, or it was always just you?
Candy's so sweet that maybe sometimes it's hard to distinguish between what she's giving off as friendship vibes or what is coming off as flirty vibes. But and I
Okay.
think our own brains want to interpret it the way we want to perceive it,
Yeah.
Mm,
and the way we hope that it's being perceived. So, I think actually I'm being a little facetious. I think it was a healthy combination of both. It's exactly the type of communication I think you want when you're really getting to know somebody. It's this combination of we're getting to know each other, we're learning about each other, there's flirtation there. And so that was my perception of our communication.
okay. So what led to you being blocked? 'Cause you mentioned
I
you're
did not
blocked
block
now.
you. I
Girl,
did
I
not
can
block
show
you.
you. I can show you my text message right now because I texted you the next day. Are you mad at me? Because I saw that you unfollowed me. I saw that I
Oh,
was blocked on WhatsApp, text messages, and I was removed from the group chat. Now, I actually respected that level of pettiness because I was like, that is funny. That is funny. I saw Candy has removed you from the group chat. I was like, all right, I
Oh,
respect that level of pettiness.
Candy,
And
what
I,
happened? How did we get to this?
So from the conversation that we had,
Uh-huh.
we were discussing a group trip. And from what Jason shared with me, I felt as if he would not be interested in being in the group trip. So there's no need to be a
Okay.
part of the group chat, which is what we talk about. So that is why he was removed. But I don't have an issue with you. You're not blocked. You can text me right now. You're not blocked.
all right,
So you said you texted her, "Are you mad at me?"
maybe I'm telling tales out of school. I won't go too far into what I into how I ascertained whether or not I was blocked or not. It did appear from my perception that I was blocked across multiple platforms, but maybe I'm wrong about that. Maybe something happened. You know how these phones be sometimes, or how the
I don't
how the
know. My
network
phone always works.
is. Oh,
So
I see you trying to start
y'all
something.
got to tell me because my phone always works. So
Right.
did you not get a reply when you sent a text? Is that what happened?
It just I got the little exclamation mark like it won't go through. And then you guys reached out about doing this, and I wanted to kind of clear the air with her, so I tried to send a message on Instagram, and that didn't go through. So I was like, okay, but maybe multiple platforms went down at the same time immediately
Hmm.
following that conversation.
Candy,
Who's to
let me
say?
find out you just unblocked him because of this. Is that what happened?
Oh, we. Oh, God.
Is
I
that
feel
what
like I'm gonna
happened,
get in
Candy?
trouble when this call ends.
Because we're trying to know. He said he was blocked. He sent you a few messages that didn't go through. Did you just recently unblock him?
No, you're not blocked. I don't know if it's your service. I don't know, but you're not blocked. I don't
Okay.
have a
So, what was the
reason.
last conversation you guys had then?
That conversation I described the day after she left, where I had indicated that maybe we should start from a place of friendship,
Okay.
and uh, we left it at that. And I feel like during that conversation, I did not give her a fair hearing. And I thought that was why perhaps there was the reaction there was the day before, because she actually caught me off guard during that conversation. Candy cut me off if you don't want me to talk about any of this, but she she had indicated, so are you making the decision for us? And that gave me pause because I had to think about it, and I was just really, you know, I can be quite decisive, and I don't want to make the decision for two people, but I don't know any other way other than to express how I feel, and then if how I feel is going to lead to uh, an incongruity between how we think we should go forward, then I suppose it's me making the decision. But I was kind of at a loss, and actually reflected on that in the days following that, and I was like, maybe I'm not. Maybe we're just different. Maybe I didn't take the time to get to know her enough in this particular way to truly understand where she was coming from. And I said during the show, I look inward first, and I really do. And so I started thinking, damn, what did I jump the gun here a little bit? So I do apologize to Candy to the extent that I did for that, and to the extent that she did block me. Not saying you did. I would say that would be a reasonable reaction, especially if your perception of how things went was different from mine from that conversation. So I appreciate the fact that I'm unblocked or never was, depending on how we look at it. And yes, internet, I know I'm talking too much.
You're fine, Jason. Okay. So, I mean, okay, you guys decided, or Jason, you said, we're going to be friends, and that was it? Never again spoke again after that?
Correct.
But why? If you're going to be friends, shouldn't the conversation continue?
Well, that's what I thought, but I don't know. Maybe I don't know.
Okay, let's hear from Candy. Candy, let's hear from you.
Um, so initially I felt that we had a good time throughout the weekend, and I could understand that we were moving at different paces.
Mm-hmm.
I do feel, and it's something that I brought up to Jason, I'm very transparent. I felt as if the fact that he brought me out, had a good time, the fact that I did not engage in certain activities, that he decided, okay, let's just be friends. So,
Okay.
that that was something for me. I am not that type of girl. And he shared with me that he felt as if one of his concerns was that I was too wholesome. Um, to each his own. That's how you feel. But I am a woman of standard, and um, I make decisions that are best for me. And
Okay.
so in the conversation that we had, I expressed that. And ultimately, that's why I initially felt that's why he said what he said and made the decision that he made for us. The conversation wasn't necessarily about how I feel. It was, I've thought about this, and this is what it is. So yeah, that's kind of how it went. And feeling the way that I felt, I didn't know if this was a friendship that I could engage in or continue. Um, from my perspective of things. So, yeah, we haven't really had a conversation since then, but I don't have an issue. I don't have an issue.
Okay.
I just feel like we were on different pages, and that's why in the episode, I believe I was speaking to Demetrius, but communication is so important because you never know what the other person is thinking, how they're perceiving things. So it is important to express how you feel, and be very clear on what your intentions are. So,
Okay. Okay. So in the moment when these activities were brought up or discussed, whatever it was, I'm not sure. Um, you expressed to him like, "Oh, I move at a slower pace. This is something I'm not gonna do." And then what happened? Like, I don't know. We're just confused how you guys had a great trip and then now you're not talking.
I just want to clear the air, so I don't. The activity was nothing too nefarious. All right, there was on the last night. I asked if I could have a goodnight kiss, and I was rebuffed. So that wasn't. We're not talking
Oh,
about something more indiscreet than that.
okay.
But I yeah, that uh, we had I had indicated that I think she might be too wholesome, and from our we had a discussion about our sort of spiritual backgrounds and so forth, and I understood where she was coming from,
Mhm.
but that wasn't something that was an issue for me, and she assured me that she is somebody that is adventurous in terms of when I say wholesome, I'm talking about can you have adventure? Are you somebody that we can have fun with? We can do things that involve risk, stuff like that, because I'm a very adventurous person. And
Okay.
uh, she sort of assured me that, yeah, she's right there with me. So uh, I was hoping that a friendship could ensue from that, and communication would have definitely been helpful to make sure that we were on the same page with where what we were both thinking about. Because I don't want anything projected onto me
Mhm.
um, or my intentions being misunderstood in any way.
Okay. All right. Well, any final thoughts between the two of you? I know you guys haven't spoken in a while, but any final thoughts?
That's it.
Okay. I'm still confused here, and I know the people are gonna be like, "What are these two even talking about?" Because I don't know what you guys are even talking about. Um, but any projects you guys are working on, anything be on the lookout, you want to discuss, whatever it is.
I mean, no, I have a children's YouTube channel, Candy's Clubhouse. Check
Oh
it
my
out.
God, that's so awesome.
I read, uh, I do read alouds for children, so obviously virtual,
Mhm.
electronically. So yeah, I love the babies, so check it out.
Of course we will. Jason, what about you?
I'm just doing my law thing. So if you got an issue, you can, of course, hit me up and happy to take a look at it if you're within my practice area. Also, people were hitting me up after the show. People visited my Instagram and they noticed that I try to do these photorealistic drawings, pencil drawings.
Oh.
And I'm always looking for new inspiration for that. And some people express some interest in that. So if you do have an interest in having me draw something or something like that, I need an original photograph. All right. An original photograph that nobody else has. All right. You can DM that and I can draw inspiration from that. And then we can discuss about composition and things like that if that's something you're interested in. But otherwise, that's just kind of a hobby. But I appreciate the asking, Arlette.
Okay. So now after this catch up, are you guys gonna talk or it's just that's the end of it? That's the end of Jason and Candy.
I don't know if we have closure, so I'll probably reach out, and if Candy's interested in hearing from me, then it won't be the end of the story. And if she's not, I perfectly understand. And I wish her the best in all her future endeavors. She's a beautiful woman, amazing in many respects, and who she was on camera is exactly who she was in person. So I very much appreciate the time that we spent together. If that is the end of the road, and if not, I look forward to what the future holds.
Candy, you answering his call?
I'll answer his call.
Oh my goodness. I can't. All
You see
right,
why I'm
guys.
confused all the time with this,
I'm
though, right?
confused with you, Jason. I don't know what's going on.
You be a state of confusion, but that's all right. That's my cross to bear.
You're not alone. I'm confused with you. I'm sitting here wondering what's going on. But honestly, I wish you two the best of luck in everything you do. And I do thank you for coming on today as well. And everyone at home, thank you so much for tuning in. We'll catch you all next time.
Thanks for having us.